How is everyone today? I'm out for a walk. It's a beautiful day. Thought I'd do a video on marketing stats, analytics, metrics, whatever you want to call it. They all mean, I suppose, about the same thing. I've always been analytical, but I've been studying stuff that even preceded Google Analytics. It was called Hitbox. It was probably back in about 97, 98 or something like that. The problem with studying data analytics on your marketing is you can get data overload, where you get so wrapped up into it that you don't even really know what it means anymore. And that's where the problem is with the data stuff. But I kind of want to go through a process of talking about somebody from $0 to $50,000 a month in income. And I've done the 20 to 50 or whatever a few different times with a few concepts, and I actually would prefer to do it differently than I have in the past, where it's more sustainable. And I've actually learned to use what I find has been a challenge over the years, which is all this disruption. And now that I've survived it and lived through it, I'm actually trying to use it as my advantage. So that's where the disruptive demographics comes from. And it plays into real estate, it plays into health, it plays into the big numbers and the big stats of what's going on in the world. And the real problems that need to be solved, right? So when I see those numbers, and they're actually numbers that have meaning, but started the last couple of days getting back into Google Analytics. I didn't think that was going to happen, to be honest. I thought I had evolved past it, but what I had realized was that social media is just a small part of the whole funnel. And you know, the idea of Facebook and stuff is it has this 24-hour shelf life. So that's part of the challenge, is you're kind of in the business. You're kind of constantly posting in social media, because you are the product. You're the one in there doing all the posting. And the problem is it doesn't really give you a chance to work on the business. It doesn't give you a chance to compound it. So you just, at some point, you just like, well, how many times do I want to post per day? Once a day? Do I want to post 12 times a day? There's a law of diminishing return at some point. And so social media is really, in my opinion, more of a middle to top of the funnel. And I believe SEO is actually a wider funnel in some ways. I mean, Facebook is obviously the king of the traffic. It's king of paid traffic. There's no doubt about it. But what the numbers you're not seeing with like search engine optimization and stuff like that is when you have when you have 100 blog posts that rank for different keywords, if you actually, like, Facebook gives you impression type traffic, if you got the impression traffic on Google on those keywords that you're ranking for, I mean, it would be hundreds of thousands. It would be huge. They used to give you that tracking information. They don't anymore. It's just, you have to go from that number and say, well, how many people actually click on it? And then from there, how many people actually read it and then subscribe and so forth. So you have to start with a very wide top of the funnel. So Facebook is what it is. It's great. It's a part of it. I see like real estate agents, they'll get in this $5,000 to $10,000 a month range for income. Definitely have potential and have seen $20,000 a month in income. What I feel like prevents them from getting up to $50,000 a month in income is time leverage. And from the best that I can tell, you can only do so much marketing up front before the person texts you or calls you or wants to evolve that relationship with you. So there's a lot of education and training that needs to get done. And real estate agents put in a lot of time educating and training people. We might be talking about budgeting. We might be talking about credit repair, credit scores. What is your price range? Gathering a lot of data from these buyers. Well, the thing about that is agents work hard for all of that. But the majority of that work is one-on-one, which isn't time leverage, right? So even though it seems impersonal, there has to be a happy medium in there somewhere where the real estate agents have to provide some of their best video content of what they've said in previous conversations and previous meetings, the best of the best, and then provide those videos to other people. And then that will actually give them the time leverage. And the thing is they're just kind of repeating themselves and giving the same education they've always given. And here's where the difference is, though. You don't just say, okay, well, because that's not as easy to measure because it's an offline stat, right? You'd have to almost write it down. But if you do that and you're like, okay, well, I gave 5 different agents on my team 10 different videos, and they're all of their buyers are now studying these videos. It now frees you up with more time. But that, if you still want to grow the business, that doesn't necessarily mean now you take that time and just hang out on the couch or watch more sports. I mean, you'll still have to continue to utilize your extra time and do other stuff, such as bring on more agents, create more training material, get more money into marketing or whatever. But you will just be forced to use your time at a higher level, at a more managerial level, at a more operational level. And that's really the goal there. So that's kind of the back end of the funnel. That, in my opinion, I think agents can make $5,000 or $10,000 a month just from working in the business. That shouldn't be that tough. I mean, it's gross money. It's not all net money. I mean, there's a lot of fees and there's gas and everything. All the fees that Uber drivers would be familiar with in this gig economy. And so that's kind of the back end, in my opinion, from where it goes. Like, I find where I work with somebody would be relationship based. I find where the real estate agents work with people from 10 to 50,000, that's relationship based. Just putting in education and training and relationships. But the other metrics online, if you want to get more at the top of the funnel, we're talking like Google Analytics. Google Analytics gives you so much data. It's overwhelming. And just don't read into the data too much, like the bounce rates and all that other stuff, because it's like you have to understand that there's always a broader picture. So when people say like, oh, I only got a 10% opt-in rate on my email list, and somebody else says, well, I got a 50% opt-in rate, well, you can't, and then you start looking at the design on that page, you can't look at it that way. It's because the people that got the 50% opt-in rate might have been having somebody follow them for 6 months or a year. They might be people they know from real life before they had them opt in. Of course their opt-in rate's going to be higher. So there's so much context and pre-framing that happens before they even get to the opt-in page. And that's the part that nobody talks about on all these different numbers. So for example, I could look at the average time on page for like an article, right? And be like, oh, okay, well, this article over here got people were only on the page for 15 seconds, but over here, people read this article for 6 minutes. It's like, well, this article is better than that article then, because they were on the page for longer. It's like, well, you can't look at it that way either, because, again, you have to come back to the funnel. It's like, the one over here is just cold traffic that's just people kind of searching around, and the average view on a Facebook video is 6 seconds, right? I mean, people are just skipping around on the internet, whereas this one over here that had somebody read for 5 or 6 minutes, that could have been shared to your Facebook group of your real life potential business partners, and you've spent 50 hours with them in real life. They're going to invest more time with your articles, right? So you're not even comparing apples with apples. So there's always more to the data behind the scenes than Google Analytics is giving. So that's something you got to keep in mind too. But the training, the video, and the relationships is a huge part of it. Those metrics are huge. When I'm talking about training videos, I think there's even more impact to a degree with the 5 or 10 potential high-end clients you're working with a high lifetime value, and having that offline as training versus all these big vanity metrics online. So that's what I got for you guys today. I'm going to do another video in a little bit. I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes so I can share it on LinkedIn, and I'll catch you guys later.